Hello, my name is Amanda Kendall with True Result Tax Professionals LLC. Today I'm coming to you to show you how to fill out a Form 433B, which is a collection information statement for businesses. This form is going to be used for any business entity, not a sole proprietorship, that owes the IRS on back taxes, whether that is for income taxes or any type of payroll taxes. This will be used regardless of whether you are assigned to a revenue officer or if you are with the main collections department. Section 1 is going to be your business information. This is pretty self-explanatory. You're going to put in your business name and the address. You're going to put in your phone number, the type of business, and the website. Over in Section 2, you're going to put in your employer identification number and then the type of entity that you are. If you're not sure, you can look at your tax return and usually figure this out based on the type of tax return that you file. And then the date that you were incorporated or established. This can be found by going to the Secretary of State if you're not sure, or also usually found on your business tax return. Section 3 is going to be for businesses who are also employers. So this is only if you have employees that are being paid on a W-2 that you are withholding taxes from. You're going to put in how many employees you have, how much your monthly gross payroll is. This is not your net number, this is your gross number. How often you're making your tax deposits, and whether you're doing that through the EFTPS system online with the IRS. Question 4 is asking you if you engage in e-commerce or internet sales, and then it's going to tell you if you do to complete sections 5A and B. You'll see here that I marked no, as my business does not engage in internet sales. We do not have any payment processors online such as PayPal, Google Checkout, or any of those. However, True Resolve Tax does have a merchant account, so we filled that out here to show you that even if you're marking no here but you have a merchant account, you want to go ahead and fill this section out for your business. The next section we come to is Section 2. This is in relation to any partners, officers, members, or shareholders of the business. So you'll see I've filled in my information here as the owner at 100%. You'll see that right there. This question here, responsible for depositing payroll taxes. This question is very important if you have more than one person listed here, like if you have all 4 of these, or even if you have an attachment listed because there's more than 4 people that would go on this section. Making sure that you answer yes or no here correctly is going to be extremely important. If the IRS decides to assess you with trust fund recovery penalties for trust fund portions of 941 payroll taxes, this yes or no question here can make the difference on who is going to be assessed and interviewed for this. So you want to make sure you have that information correct when you're filling that out there. Moving down to Section 3, which is our other financial information, and you'll see here it says attach copies of all applicable documents. So you want to make sure that if you're answering yes to any of these questions that you're going ahead and attaching that. So the first one is, does the business use a payroll service provider or reporting agent? I marked yes here, put in a name of a payroll company here, and the effective date. So for the purposes of this form, we had started using payroll on the same date that we opened, which was June 12th, 2012. A document you would attach to this would be payroll reports showing that they are processing your payroll and everything is going through them. Going to answer if the business is party to a lawsuit, has it ever filed bankruptcies, has it ever filed bankruptcy, do any related parties have outstanding amounts owed to the business? This would be loans where the officers, partners, employees, shareholders have taken a loan from the business that has not yet been repaid. Have any assets been transferred from the business for less than full value? Good example of this is if the business owned a car and had given the car away to an employee but didn't charge for it, that would be an asset transferred for less than full value. Does this business have other business affiliations, as in does it have DBAs under it, parent companies, any other businesses that are affiliated with this one directly? Any increase or decrease in income anticipated. This is an important one if you know that your income is going to be going down and the financials that you're presenting here are not going to be accurate in the next couple months to support a payment that it would support now. You need to make sure that you include that here so that the IRS knows. Last question is the business a federal government contractor? So you'll want to make sure you answer all of those yes or no. If you answer yes, you'll want to fill in the questions below it in each section to give information, and then again attach any documents related to that. Section 4 starts our business asset and liability information. So it's going to ask you for cash on hand. This is going to be your petty cash balance that the business maintains. And then it's going to ask you if there's a safe on the premises. If you answer yes, it's going to ask you what's included in that. So you'll want to make sure whether that's corporate records, whether that is your petty cash bag, whether it's employee records, whatever is in that safe, you want to disclose that on this section here. Business bank accounts, and it tells you here that you want to include online and mobile accounts like PayPal. You also want to include your money market accounts, savings accounts, checking accounts, payroll cards, government benefit cards, anything where you have an available balance that is able to be used for your business. You'll also see here that it says list safety deposit boxes including location, box number, and value of contents, and attach a list of the contents. For purposes of this form today, we're going to say that we have a checking and a savings account both with JP Chase Bank. Put in the account balance as of today, $5,000 and $10,000. Now the important thing to remember when you're putting in these bank account balances is that you want to go ahead and deduct from whatever is showing is in your bank account today any outstanding checks or payments you have out that you know have not cleared yet, because you want to make sure this number is accurate as to what is actually available in the account balance as of today. Total those up here. If you happen to have more than 3 bank accounts, you'll just want to attach a separate piece of paper that has all this same information on it and make sure that this number here adds up to not only the numbers here, but whatever may be on an attachment for you. Second part of this section is going to be your accounts or notes receivable. This section is going to be for any regular AR accounts you have. If you don't have regular accounts receivable, then you want to go ahead and put in your major contracts that are current or your major clients that are current here. And you want to put in the status. If you're not sure what this means, then your accountant or bookkeeper should be able to help you fill this part out. The due date, the invoice or account number, and the amount owed. Again, you want to make sure these numbers are correct so that you're showing the IRS exactly what is owed to you that's outstanding at this point. Investments. If your business does hold stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, commodities such as gold, silver, anything like that, this is the section where you would want to fill that out and then make sure that you total up the investment there. Our next section here is going to be available credit. This is going to include any lines of credit and credit cards that your business has. Our next section here is going to be available credit. This is going to include any lines of credit and credit cards that your business has. So we have here that we have a credit card with JP Chase Bank with a credit limit of $15,000. We owe $9 on that, so we have an available credit of $6,000, which again is reflected right here on our total credit available. Next we have real property. This is the part that can get pretty confusing for taxpayers filling this out, because it states include all real property and land contracts the business owns, leases, or rents. So we have taxpayers a lot of times call us and say, well, I don't own any property, so we don't need to put anything there. This is where leases or rents. So True Resolve Tax does not own any business property, but we do have our business office, and we put that it is leased so that the IRS knows we do not own this property. There's no applicable current market value or loan balance because we are leasing it. Put in a monthly rent amount, the date of your final payment. If you have a lease term and you know that it's going to be ending at that point, you can put this there. You can put NA. Sometimes we put TBD, to be determined, because it's an ongoing lease. Equity, if you do not own the property, it's very important to put 0 here to make sure that the IRS knows you do not have any equity. Put in the office location, your lender, and then if you have more than one item, make sure you're bringing the total down here that's reflective. If you have more than the 4 that this form allows for, go ahead and add another attachment, making sure you have all this information on that attachment as well. The next section is going to be for vehicles leased and purchased. Right here it says includes boats, RVs, motorcycles, ATVs, trailers, and mobile homes. So this is really any vehicle or motorized vehicle that has to be registered with the DMV. So we've put in here a 2015 Toyota Tundra that was purchased September 1st, 2015. You want to make sure your current fair market value is correct, that your loan balance is correct. Put in your monthly payment and the payoff date, and then the equity. It tells you right here the equity is your fair market value minus your loan. So since we are, and this should actually be $4,000, because we have a value of 24, loan balance of 20, so we have $4,000 in equity. You want to make sure you fill in all this information along with your lender and their phone number. And this would be $4,000 in total equity here. Moving on to page 5 is going to be our business equipment and intangible assets. So here we have put in our office computers, our office furniture, and our printer and copier, and we filled out all the necessary information here to show again what the current status of these items are. So we've put in that we have a fair market value, that we don't have a loan balance. Now on the printer copier, we've put in that this is a leased printer and copier, and put in our payment information and when that lease expires there. Intangible assets are going to be non-physical assets. So this could be copyrights that you have, patents that you hold, anything that is not a physical asset is going to be an intangible asset, and you would put that information here. And then down here you're going to total up the equity. We have 2,000 plus 2,500 gives us our 4,500 here. Again, same thing. If you have more than this form allows for, include an attachment. Make sure your total equity includes not only the figures on this page directly, but also the attachments. Moving into business liabilities, this is where you're going to put any business loans you have, notes, judgments, anything along those lines. So I put in here that there is a business capital loan that was taken out right after the business was opened. There's a remaining balance of $5,000, have a final payment date, the monthly payment amount, and who the payment is paid to, and then the total payments here. Again, same thing. If you have more than the 2 that this form allows for, add an attachment. Make sure your total payments on this line here add up to what is on this form plus any attachments. Section 5. This is a very important section of this form. This section is how the IRS is going to determine what it is that your business can afford to pay on a monthly basis towards the back taxes. So you want to make sure that this business is not inflating income or understating expenses, because you want to make sure it is as accurate as possible, because if the IRS comes back and says you can afford $5,000 a month and you say no, they're going to reference back to this and the fact that it may show you do. So accounting method used is going to be either cash or accrual. You want to make sure you have the correct method used on here. If you're not sure, you can again talk to your accountant or your bookkeeper and they can tell you what method is being used there. You want to make sure you're marking what period this is for. The IRS usually wants at least 3 months. For businesses, they may push you for 6 months. I usually go ahead and tend to put down an annual average on this for the simple fact that businesses have seasons where you have better months and slower months, and you want to make sure that you're getting a good average and not basing it strictly off your worst months or your best months, because the IRS is going to, if you're basing it off your best months, they're going to want a payment that's more than you can afford. If you're basing it off your worst months, they're going to think you're trying to hide something and not being honest and forthcoming in the information you're providing them. So you're going to put in all your income sources. So they have some basic ones on here: gross receipts from sales and services, rental income, interest, dividend, cash receipts not included in the amounts above. If you have other forms of income, it allows you to specify those here. You would then total those up. Over here on the expense side, you're going to list everything that you pay on a monthly basis that goes out. Once all of this is done, this form does not give you a place to total this up. But if you were to total all these figures I have on the expense side, the expenses come to a total of $30,900. We have an income of $35,100. In this particular case, the IRS would be looking for a payment of $4,200 a month to repay whatever balance was owed on this business account. So this is where you can see that it's really important to make sure that these numbers are correct and that you're not overstating income or understating expenses and making these numbers look skewed in any way. Down here, it's going to give you some explanations of what these items are in case you have questions on what exactly goes in these forms or in these specific expense categories here. Down here, you'll see we have a certification stating that under penalties of perjury, I declare that to the best of my knowledge and belief, this statement of assets, liabilities, and other information is true, correct, and complete. As an officer of the business, you will need to sign, place your title, date it, and print your name so they know who is signing this, and you are signing this under penalty of perjury. So I highly recommend that you never sign this form if somebody else has completed it for you without reviewing it and making sure you fully understand what you're signing. You are the one signing it, you are the one on the line verifying its authenticity and accurateness. That is your Form 433B for Business Collection Information Statements. If you have any questions on this or if you need help filling this out, please don't hesitate to call my office. You can reach True Resolve Tax at 720-319-8954. You can go to our website and submit a request for contact that way, or you can email us at taxpros@trueresolvetax.com. I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you very much.